This is a View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 2nd of December, 2025. My name's Patrick Smith. I'm joined by the statistician for the Belfast Giants, David McJimsey. Over the next hour or so, we'll bring you through all the news and views of the Belfast Giants from last week and a whole lot more. We're live on YouTube, X, Facebook, and you listen to us through all the really good podcast providers. If you're watching live on any of the platforms, get involved. In the comments in the chat box, we're always watching. You may see some of your comments on screen. On this week's show, it was a 4-point weekend for the Belfast Giants with wins over Dundee and Glasgow. The Friendship 4 is back and provided so much action. We might take a look, but we'll certainly have a bit of a mention of it. It's 25 years tonight, this very moment, since the opening night of the Odyssey Arena and that first Belfast Giants game. No doubt Davey and I will like to reminisce a little. Player of the Month for November, and all its nominees are coming, and we'll chat to Awada and to Gabe Bast ahead of another weekend on the road. I think that's more than enough, don't you? Mr. McJimsey, how are you doing?
I'm very glad to have you back, Patrick.
Listen, can't thank you enough for last week. You did a fantastic job. You and Marty did a brilliant job, as always, so I really do appreciate it. It was a very tough week. I'll say that my father-in-law passed away last week, quite unexpectedly on Monday. And so I wasn't able to do the pod, but you guys did a fantastic job. Bill was a great guy, kind, generous, and he'll be sadly missed. But yeah, I do appreciate you stepping in at short notice, mate, to do that. It was great. How are you anyway? You well?
Dead on, mate. Dead on. Obviously, we'll maybe keep our powder dry on the 25th anniversary stuff for later in the show. But hard to believe, almost.
We're not. I'm going to go cracking with it straight away.
Almost to the minute. 25 years ago, it was 9 o'clock. You know, the building's still full. Obviously, not the result perhaps we wanted, but first goals, first fights, first heroes. So what more can you say about if I could turn back time? Who sang that? Sure, if I could turn back time, man, what would I give to do this all again? Maybe not the podcasts. I'd maybe scrap that idea. But
thanks, man.
On the club, I put a little tweet or a little Instagram story out this morning about the greatest love story ever told. A city. What was it? A city fell in love with a team that fell in love with a city, and I think that's been the story of the Belfast Giants. They came along at a time maybe when the city really needed something like that. Post Belfast Agreement signing in '98, and country was still losing its way a little bit, and all of a sudden this team came along that we could all support, no matter me being from the east, you being from the west. We were supporting our city. At first, it seemed like one of the first times that you were supporting the whole city, because obviously as a Glen man, I don't know what, if you followed a football team or not in your younger days, but football was partisan almost to the area of the city you came from. East Belfast, the Blues, and their part of town, and North Belfast Crusaders, Cliftonville, whatever, and so partisan. But this gave us a city and almost a country from Northern Ireland, people all over come and support this club, and give us so many amazing memories, some super low, some unbelievable highs, and some pretty average stuff at times as well, it must be said. But last week we talked about Rob Stewart, 900 wins, and if we go away from the 2nd of December 2000, and they said it wouldn't last, and into that really bad period when the Super League was collapsing and the Elite League was starting, and it would have been easy for many people to walk away. Stu didn't walk away. Paxton, Colin Ward, Killer, all these guys made Belfast their home. Shane Johnson, the list goes on and on. And Stu maybe wasn't at that time rewarded for his loyalty to the club. Obviously, results pays business, and we went a different way. I think that's when Tony Han came in, and then obviously through the Ed Courtney and Doug Christensen, Steve Thornton, Mark 1 phase. But we've had so many good memories, and every journey starts with the first footstep, and that first footstep was it would obviously play at home games away, but would play at away games. But that was our first night in our home building, and there's been so many unbelievable nights in that barn ever since, and still the best arena in the league.
It's like I say, it's 25 years since that first moment. No, obviously not our first game, but our first home game with regards to the Belfast Giants being in Belfast. A 2-1 defeat to the Irish Scottish Eagles in front of 7,300 fans, and began for many of us a love affair that continues a quarter century later. During, well, I'm going to play something here because during lockdown, Davey, you had a bit of a chance to chat with a few people about those days, and one of them being Bob Zeller, a Hall of Famer here at the Belfast Giants, and the father of the organisation back in 2000, if you will. We'll be releasing the chat on our socials and our audio channels later in the week. But here's a taster of it.
My idea of the hockey team was that it should be, as the league was meant to be, based on what you would find in the American Hockey League or the East Coast Hockey League. That type of an operation, a fairly slim operation, but an operation that was very professional. It wasn't a neighborhood organization, but it was a professional organization. And we started from there. I became much more understanding of some of the things that needed doing, and we came up with a business plan. We showed the business plan to 2 or 3 people, all of whom liked it. We then took the step of actually informing the board that of Ice Hockey Super League, that we would be interested in negotiating a franchise. They had already asked me to participate, not as a board member, but just as a friend of the organization and things. So I knew all the people on the board, with the exception of one person, I guess. And I knew them all, and they were very supportive as well, really supportive, because the idea of putting another team into Super League was very important. Then the question came up with where we could play. And I had people across the UK that I was talking to, all of whom were supposedly in one way or the other going to be or were involved with an arena. Not a rink, not a Dundonald, but an arena like we have here in Belfast. And so then it was a question of trying to decide what would be the best market to play in, where we could quickly find a niche and not have to spend years and years and years to trying to get through a culture of other sports. And the more I looked at it, the more it seemed to me to be Belfast.
It's a brilliant interview you did with Bob Zeller. I'd say it's like 5 years ago now. We had this big idea that we were going to bring it out for the 20th, and COVID and everything else to him. But it's a brilliant interview with him, and you also have a one with Albert Maslin, which we're going to package up and put out on our audio streams and on the socials. And David, it like, you listen to Bob Zeller and listen to what I mean. Like, this thing didn't just happen. It was a hell of a lot of hard work, not just to establish it, but to build it into what we have today.
Yeah, I remember back in, I'm going to say 90, maybe 96, 97, something like that. I was working as a quantity surveyor in Belfast, and the company I was working for were the architects and surveyors on building this building. And I didn't realize at the time that I was going to spend so much of my next 30 years of my life in that building. And so fortunate.
Is that what's wrong with it?
Yeah. yeah, I could tell you. So fortunate to be able to do those interviews with Bob and Albert and stuff. And I cannot believe it's 5 years ago since they were recorded. Unbelievable. It was COVID, suppose, times, was it? We're shut down. We're not allowed to talk to the outside world, really. But apart from when we got good at Zoom and all those kind of things. But, mate, what can you say about? We could probably go on and on. I know it's the first night of, like, at Paxton's little memorabilia. We'll play top trumps at Paxton's jersey that he scored that first night of a puck from the first night, and Aaron Stewart sorted me out with the program from the first, because I wanted to put it together. I've got Paxton's stick and stuff, and I was talking to Paxton earlier, and I said to him, like, I get upset now when I talk to Paxton because you're missing him that much. And you can see when you're talking to him how much the town still means to him. How much, like, I think if Paxton could live in Belfast, bar having the strong family connections, the Onaway and stuff, that he'd be here, because I think the family that he has in Belfast means a lot to him as well. But, like, we've been very fortunate. We've raised a lot of banners, but a lot of great coaches. a lot of great players, and so many. There's something about this city that makes people want to stay in it, and that the hockey team is a big part of that. And we're hoping that maybe some of the guys that are in this team are those future guys that the boot room, as Robert tried to put together, or where you've got that succession of people that get it, and the current guys at the top of the tree, Steve Thornton and Adam Keefe, in terms of hockey ops and hockey coaching, get it. And you only have to see it. He's Jeff Mason on the bench beside him, George Awada on the bench, who we'll talk to you later. And of course, Rob Stewart, who's almost been there since day one, and Pav, who's been there since the start of the IHL, and all these guys that just are household names now in Belfast. We're mainstream, Patrick, aren't we? It's not talk about this, the best hidden secret, but Belfast Giants within Northern Ireland sport are mainstream.
It's interesting. I saw, I can't remember who it was, one of the sponsors that have come on board from North America. And the guy, it was something on LinkedIn, I think the guy had said, we've just done a deal with the Vancouver Canucks to do sponsorship there. But more exciting, but his words, more exciting than that and more special to me is we've just done a deal with the Belfast Giants of the Elite Ice Hockey League. And it's just like, the organization over 25 years has made an impact on world hockey. There's no doubt about that. You look at what we've done with regards to bringing in the Boston Bruins. You look at what we've done with the Friendship 4 that has just gone by, 10 years of that. And the relationships we built there. And that's not starting to talk about the achievements that we've seen on the ice. So the players that we were able to see from, you mentioned them there, Paxton Schulte to Theo Fleury to Steve Thornton and Adam Keefe to, you could go through all these cracking players to the guys we have now and the titles that we've won. It all comes down to the sport on the ice, but as part of regards to the achievement of the organization and the facility that we were able to play in, which thankfully, given the input with regards to the Odyssey Trust, there's no facility like it in the Elite League with regards to making somewhere like that their home. The banners that we have, the big puck outside, it just shows in 25 years what can be created and what goes on from there. You mentioned his name, Paxton Schulte. We can't have the 25th year without hearing from him.
We're reflecting on 25 years as a Belfast Giant and the opening of the Odyssey. Just want to wish the team and 25 more years, as well as the great support from the city and especially the community. You're the people that made it happen right from the first year. It was special to me, and it always will be. So continue to grow, have fun, and win some more championships. I hope everything's going well, and Merry Christmas to you guys too.
The big man was a legend, absolute legend, and told when he came back for the testimonial and the reception that he got, Davey.
That's a funny one. I don't know why. I was talking to somebody today about crying actually, and going, I don't cry. It's tough now. But little things like that get me so emotional. It's like, wow. I've watched that a few times today because I was trying to cut it and stuff to make sure it was the right size and format and stuff for the show. And I said to Paxton, like, it gets me so emotional and so sad that he's not here, and it just gets me just right in the feels that this guy came from as far the other side of Canada almost as you can go. He came to represent. He didn't know what he was doing when he came here. He didn't know coming as a Bracknell B just to be a Belfast Giant, probably for a season. Didn't know what it was the impact he was going to have in the city and what impact the city was going to have on him lifelong. 25 years to the day later, he talks about we and us, and it's as much his home as Onaway is his home, and it always will be. And better move on.
Well, we're going to the one thing to just say as well, just before we bring in our first guest, is that it just goes to show, and it'll sort of bring up with you when we bring him in a second, is that a lot of these guys, and Paxton Schulte, let's just say Schulte's not a very common name in the Belfast area. You know what I mean? My dad used to make a joke about that. He's one of the Schultes from Lucknow Street. You know what I mean? But it's to come into this city in a sport that wasn't prevalent, other than playing in Dundonald with the likes of legends like Simon Kitchen. It wasn't prevalent, but come in and make an impact that he did, and have his name and have his. You saw the reaction that Alan Keefe had to having his number retired. Paxton Schulte was the first of those, and will forever be in the rafters with regards to the Belfast Giants. It's incredible the impact he has, and it obviously holds a place in his heart.
The city has a way of getting its hook into people. You've seen it all along, and mentioned some at the start. Johnny, even Adam, Mace, all these guys, Stu, all these guys that came, met girls from Northern Ireland, ended up, laying down roots here. And we've been very fortunate, Paddy. We're very, very blessed that some of the guys that have laced the boots up for this city have become heroes, not just you and me, but the many thousands and tens of thousands of people over the years. But 25 years ago today, it's just about kicking out time, the Odyssey, 20:09. So game would have just been about over, as we said at the start. Maybe not the result we wanted on our first night, but over 1,000 games later, and it's 900 of them wins for him. Like the success of the club, as I say, coming post ceasefire in the mid 90s, then into the millennium, and the Odyssey being the Millennium Project for this part of the United Kingdom, and a bit of a punt on hockey becoming a sport that would last. And as the big banner in the club says, it they said it wouldn't last, but it has. And 25 years later, we get to bring on another hero.
And that's it. Let's bring on another hero. He's been with the club for 3 of those 25 years and scored the first goal for the Belfast Giants over the weekend. Gabe, Bast, how you doing, mate?
Good. How are you guys?
Not too bad. Turn your phone 90 degrees, or turn your thing 90 degrees if you can. That'd be
sorry, technical difficulties.
That's all right.
Basti, before Paddy goes there, we were talking today. You've maybe seen on socials. Today is the actual 25th anniversary of the first ever game at the Odyssey. So on 2nd December 2000, club played its first game, and with many little milestones, and we've had a lot of heroes along the way. And it's just sitting on my desk beside me, and I didn't plant this. It was just sitting there. Our 5,000th all-time goal.
Who scored that?
42, Gabe Bast.
Number 42.
Was that my first season, or when was that?
15th of October 2022.
Oh, wow.
Assisted David Goodwin and Scott Conway. There you go.
Classic.
First season here, yeah.
You can have it if you want it. Give you the weekend if you're into collecting stuff.
I'm not a big collector, but yeah.
I'll keep it. I'll keep it then. I'll keep it then.
Yeah, you keep it. You'd probably appreciate it more than I would.
Before, Davey brought that up, obviously, you've played, across North America, and then you also played in Finland, and you've been 3 seasons with the Belfast Giants now. Outside of the ice stuff, what impact has the Giants made on you?
You know what? I think it's just the community around the Giants. The fans are unbelievable. They're so passionate. They care so much. When things are going good, they're great. When things are going tough, they're
Tough.
they're still great. Yeah, they are tough. Sometimes going on social media, what you see their comments, but you know what? That's just kind of all part of it.
That's the game.
I know they're all passionate, and that's what you want from a fan base. And I think when they're cheering for you when things are going good and bad, I think it just goes to show that you've done something right.
But and I guess that's because obviously you went back, played for Red Deer, and then the opportunity came to come back. So there must be something about the organization to bring you back over this way and then get you to stay for another one.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Yeah, when I took that year off, I was just kind of sorting out things. Didn't really know what was the plan, and then when the opportunity to come back, um, I jumped all over it. I love this city. I love playing for the Giants, and yeah, it's an absolute honor.
Let's quickly start chat about the weekend. I say you got that first goal in Dundee. You're taking how we played on the road this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to Dundee and just going to Scotland in general. It's not always the easiest. Tough travel, but yeah, I think our game's kind of taking form right now, and yeah, very very delighted with our results this weekend.
And that's what it's about, Basti, too. At the minute, it's just about trying to turn those results out, because performances. Probably the first game in Dundee was a little better than maybe somewhat of an average performance in Glasgow, but you go in there, you come home with 2 points. You've gone on the road, we've taken 4, get back to practice and worry about next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's a long season. Like, you're not going to be perfect in all 54 games, but the way this the league is set up, you just have to find ways to win, and that's what we were able to do.
And this weekend, obviously, we've got another 2 in Manchester and Cardiff on the road, and then a 3-3, a rare 3-3 the following weekend. Like, it's taxing on the body and the mind, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah. It's been a while since I played a 3-3. I honestly don't know if I ever have, but yeah, I think. Yeah, this next weekend is going to be huge for us going into Manchester. It's a really tough building to play in, um, and then on to Cardiff on Saturday, and another tough building to play in, tough team, um, and then we're going to expect a battle both nights.
You can tell Paddy what the game's like because he's still barred from Manchester.
Shh! I've got a hat. I've got a hat and a pair of glasses to get me in.
A fake
tell us if
mustache.
Yeah, that's it. A hat, a fake mustache. Nobody sees me. It's been like
A
that
wig
for
too.
about 10 years now. But the what is it like? Because obviously Manchester is an interesting place to go and play because they always seem to have our number at least once. And I think I get the feeling for you boys when you play that the ice is quite soft. It's a different place to play. They know how to play there.
Yeah, you know what? Like, especially for the new guys, we always talk about it. We're like, whatever you expect, just expect even worse. Like, it is not. It's not an easy place to play. It's loud. The ice is usually below average, and yeah, it's some style of hockey. It's not the prettiest style to watch, but you just got to go in there and kind of dive head first and just play the game.
I remember when we had when we had Sammy Rupp on, and Robert was saying that because his brother played for Manchester there, and his brother told him, whatever you think exactly that. However you think that ice looks, it's worse than what it looks like when you get out onto it. And and he was like, he wasn't kidding. But they, like I say, they know how to play. I made a comment after the game we played against them earlier this season where we scored 6 in one period. We did to them what at times when you go into that building they've done to us. There've been times where you can go into the third period and you think we just have to rattle our way through here. But when momentum goes in that building, it really goes in that building.
Oh, it's crazy. Just because there's so many like unique little like bounces and realistically, like there's not really a bad shot in that building.
Yeah.
So and yeah, like you said, there's the atmosphere in the building. Yeah, one goal goes in, and all of a sudden the crowd's into it, and next thing you know, there's a weird deflection or whatnot, and all of a sudden it's 2 goals in 2 minutes, and it's a completely different game. So I think just managing that kind of like the emotions of that, and just sticking to a really really simple, direct kind of hockey game is what you have to do.
And I suppose then, Bathy, for many different reasons, the building the following night it's no easier to go into.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, definitely not. Yeah, Cardiff, they're always been a hard team to play at home. It's loud. It's the fans there are very good. And, they go with the momentum of the team, really.
It's one thing I'm going to ask. We had Jordan Karaguchi on a couple of weeks ago, and on the back of the Friendship 4, we sort of were talking about the program at North Dakota. You're alumni of there as well, as is the likes of Grant Mismash, who's now of the Coventry Blaze. He spoke, obviously, North Dakota are going to be coming to be part of the Friendship 4 in just a couple of years' time, which is fantastic for not just the Friendship 4, but to be able to see a program like North Dakota so successful come into our barn and shows the sort of expanse that the Friendship 4 is getting to. Jordan spoke quite passionately about what it's like to play in those colours and on that ice, surrounded by so many student fans. What are your memories of it?
You know what, North Dakota was unbelievable. Um, you're playing for not only your school, but you're playing for like a state. Like you're playing
Yeah.
for a massive alumni network that are scattered all over the world that still, I don't know, kind of check in back with the program and still follow it. So, and like when you're there, it's obviously you have the best fans in college hockey, you have the best facility in college hockey, and you're treated probably better than most professional sports teams. So, yeah, there's a huge honor that goes into it, but there's also a huge responsibility that comes with playing for North Dakota.
You're
It's
probably
interesting.
going to hang on, Paddy. You're probably going to have to hang about for another couple of seasons, then, Gabe.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
But we always play that weekend, so we always end up playing
A
away that
tactical,
weekend.
there'll be a tactical stream.
Tactical injury,
Yeah.
tactical knock just before the. Speaking of that, just before we let you go, obviously you've had your a few troubles this season early on with regards to injury. What's it like psychologically to try to get yourself fit again, to try to get back out there on the ice? Are you a bad person to watch, or do you get frustrated, or you just this is just part of the job?
Yeah, I wouldn't say, yeah, I'm not a good watcher of games. I mean, nobody's ever made a mistake from the press box, so when you're up there, you see everything. But yeah, you know what, just when you finally get back out there, it's just exciting to be with the guys again and going to compete and battle and win some hockey games.
Brilliant. Well, listen, mate, we appreciate your time. Safe trip to Manchester this weekend and on to Cardiff, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Alrighty, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Cheers, Gabe.
Cheers to Gabe Bast. Big thank you to him for coming and joining us. I love talking about that sort of NCAA and the atmosphere. I'm actually going to ask our next guest about his time in the NCAA when we get to that. But in fact, let's do that. We were talking about the 25 years of the Belfast Giants. 5 of those years, he was the captain. Please welcome back to A View from the Bridge, George Awada. How you doing, mate?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Not too bad, buddy. How are you?
Good, very good. Can you hear me with all right?
Yeah. Hear you perfectly. Okay. You hear us? Yeah.
Yep. I
Cool.
just have my AirPods on. I don't think these are working. So here we go.
we had trouble with Dallas Earhart of his AirPods the other week. It was with it.
I just never charge mine. It's funny. I wear them on the bench to talk to Pirate. You know, 'cause he's cutting our film for us, and for any kind of offsides or any goaltender interference, like quick action calls, we need to chat with him. And I don't know how many times I get out there and my AirPods are dead, and so I can't talk. The whole the whole purpose of it all just is not there. So I got to charge them through between periods, but it just kind of it happens a few times. It's kind of silly on my part, but then we still text and stuff, so it's not like lost or anything in that communication. But
I was on a wind up last season when we were in Manchester, and a couple of friends from around here who were at the game with me, and they pointed at you on the bench with your AirPods in and said, "Why has he got the AirPods in?" He says, "Well, he likes to listen to Metallica during games. Just likes to get in the atmosphere. He just he zones out, and that's the way he does it."
Sometimes I wish I was listening to music. Some of the games this year, but
we were talking earlier on about the 25. We'll start with that, with the 25 years since the very first game of the Belfast Giants. I mentioned there, that you captained this side for 5 of those, and then came back again and kind of come back. You played 6. You were assistant captain, then 5 times captain, and then you came back in 2012 and won another title. So this organization must mean a lot to you.
Yeah, no, like
apart from being your employer.
Yeah, well. I got to say the right things, right? Because I'm working for him again. No, it had, and like in my journey, like everyone has their own journeys of getting here. And when I got here, I was just looking for a place to sink my feet into, more or less. I played on a handful of teams. I wasn't like a true journeyman, I don't think so much, but there were circumstances why I was moving around a little bit. Teams are folding, or I just wanted to get to Europe. So things things evolved into my chance to come here. And yeah, so once I got here, obviously with the early success, and it just, everything fit, you know. And it was back then, obviously it was easier because you're just playing all the time, and we were challenging for trophies and everything, but it's not like the pressure it is this, you know, this time of the franchise, you know, the way things go from year to year now. But back then you're having fun, you're playing with a handful of guys, and you know, we still had good crowds and everything. It was a good time. Like I said, it was the right fit for me. And you know, I ended up meeting my wife here a few years later after that, right? So it just like a few other guys around on the team and in the Giants sphere, you know, we're here and we're lifers. So
it's that, and that's it. So you were at Florida, and then you went to Manchester, and then obviously Manchester, Phoenix had theirs, and then you made your jump over here. So the decision to make that jump to Manchester, was it a difficult one? Because you'd been in the AHL, you'd done a bit of time on the coast, and then you just, you know, the choice to jump over.
Yeah. No, it was more. There was the CBA was being discussed, like the union was getting together over that summer, and there was something to do. I wasn't so involved with it. I was just playing hockey and having fun and everything. But I was getting into what do I want to say, like a senior status, a veteran status. Sorry. For the amount of games, and that kind of affects certain amount of the teams were only allowed a certain amount of veterans, right? So you kind of not pushing out the door, but you got to find a place to stick, and they want you and everything. So, anyways, I think it was at that point, but they were still deciding over that summer, and then I think I had a couple agents reach out to me throughout that summer, and there was an opportunity to go to a few different places in Europe, and Manchester was one of them. And I had heard, I had talked to some people. I played with a guy who played Brownie. I played with him in Florida. He played for Manchester, the Storm, prior in the Super League stuff. So anyways, you just meet, it's a small world. So you meet guys that have played in the Super League and everything. And that's how I kind of came over. It was nice. Again, I had some European teams interested, but you get a language barrier. Thought it'd be a good stepping stone for myself to get to Europe. And again, it was a good year, fun year. The team collapsed, whatever. And then, you know, like I said, I landed here, and the rest is history.
And talking of history, George, I was doing a bit of not a clear out, but a tidy up. I came across this.
I can't hear you, Davey.
Oh, no. Can you hear me, buddy?
I hear Davey, no?
No, now I can. Yeah.
Okay, so I was doing a clear out, and I came across this.
No.
I can hear you, buddy, but I can't hear Davey.
Can't hear Davey.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. That's a shame. Right, you tell me what your question is, and I'll relate it to him.
So I find this magazine.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
USA Hockey. Yeah. George Awada, Belfast or Bust. We did see this guy.
Belfast is a Belfast or Bust.
Look at this guy.
That hair.
Look at this guy. But so it gives the stats. Like I know Paddy will come on to it. The St. Cloud State, you know,
I'm not hearing it.
That's okay.
That question on Paddy.
Basically it comes on in regards to your time in NCAA at St. Cloud State, and
right.
You know, we've just had the friendship for here. We talked to Gabe Bast there about his time with regards to his time in the NCAA. What's your recollections of your time with regards to playing college hockey?
It was great. Like it was not a long journey for me, but it was a different one. St. Cloud State wasn't a powerhouse back in the day when I was playing there. And for me to get there, I had 2 years of junior hockey, which was very good. I was right in my hometown of St. Paul. And those coaches kind of moved up their coaching ladder and ended up in St. Cloud. And that's how I kind of landed there as well. And my high school coach went there. So it was kind of a nice, warm, cozy feel. We had some super all-stars on our team as freshmen my year. And they left, went to the NHL and stuff. So, but again, this was early days of college guys leaving early to go play hockey. Usually you played 4 years, and then if you were drafted, then you'd go on. But right around then, that was like the cusp of guys leaving early and playing pro hockey from college. But anyways, it was a good time. It was a small school. And at that time, like I said, it wasn't a huge school. They didn't win as much, so there's a good opportunity for me to play or to grow my game because I wasn't really ready as a freshman for the level, you know. So I took my steps throughout my 4 years there, and had a really good time, had a good year, had a lot of success towards the end, I guess. Just personally, I mean, we never won any trophies or anything, but my game, my effect on it, everything, and just learn how to play different ways. Kind of built me for the next step when I was to go pro, basically. But yeah, it was good. I mean, college hockey, you can't beat it. Like Bast was saying, like North Dakota used to have one of the oldest barns and the hardest barns to play in. It was probably it's like going into Manchester or Cardiff, like one of these ruckus places where the fans would be hanging over the glass, throwing Powerade bottles at you and stuff. Like it was, and this was college, right? So it's fun, and like you'd get in fights on the ice. Like it was fun, old time hockey, basically. Where now, the place he's playing, it's like the Taj Mahal of hockey rinks. So you don't have those kind of like crazy interactions with the fans and everything, but it's still, again, they pack it out. Just like Mariucci, just like, Michigans and the BUs and all those other big places. But yeah, like it was a great time. And it's really cool seeing these colleges come over here to play in our rink and just see their bright eyes, like, because it's like their first opportunity to get to Europe, a lot of these guys. And I had that chance when I was in college. I went to Zug actually to play in a college tournament going into my senior year in college. So that for me, that was like, I got to get to Europe. I don't know, I was hanging out with the other players from the teams from Zug and Mannheim Alder and stuff after the games, and I was like, how do I get here? And they're like, hey, you just got to find a team and get your foot in the door, kind of thing. But that gave me the itch to want to come overseas at some point in my hockey career.
I guess that's why we see so many, like, obviously a lot of the guys they've got their eyes on the NHL, they've got their eyes moved up, but we've seen so many guys from Darcy Murphy to the Scott Conway and more just come over and play, not just for the Belfast Giants, but play in the Elite League, right across the Elite League, and probably because of their first dip in the toe of coming into Europe.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it was, again, I was playing against DEL teams and so I wasn't at that level. So it wasn't, those major market teams. I wasn't a chance, a thought of making a jump to one of those. And then, like I said, with coming here, it was like when I came over here, this was like a stepping stone onto the mainland of Europe for a lot of guys, and just that's what scouts would tell you and everything. Where now guys are kind of leapfrogging and jumping in over there like crazy all over the Scandinavian countries and everything. But yes, for those young guys that are coming here, there's proof in it. We have proof that it works. That this tournament does lure guys, and they have those good memories of being here. And again, like back to when I was in Manchester, I tell you all the time, like whenever we came over here to play Belfast, I liked it. I liked playing here. It was a great rink, good fans, and like it has all the things that a hockey player desires, I guess, if they want to play and enjoy their time while they're playing.
I've just received a video from a man who I'll leave unnamed, but I'm going to hit play. I'm worried about what's going to happen. I'm going to play.
Yeah.
That's George Awada and Mike Menard. I guess just some footage from those days. I'll turn that down a bit. But like, I'd like to say they're different days. They're not so different days, are they?
No, I mean, let's see. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's funny, like I've told you guys before, like when we're watching highlights, it looks so slow and like bad hockey, but it is the same. Like it was a little rougher back then. There's a little more clutch and grab, but there were some good players in the league. And the goaltending was good too. Like, the top four teams are always the top four teams, just like it is now. So you're always in a fight every night. But you just played a lot more than the guys play now. Like we had 9 forwards sometimes, and it was, rotating the top 6 because, Mo and Wally, our locals didn't get as much as they needed, But yeah, this is great.
It's one of those. There's so and that's what I love about. Like, there's so much footage out there from those times that come through, and the way that the Belfast Giants has also had an impact. Steve O'Brien, There's names that pop up over these 25 years. Do you know, they talk about, and David will probably know along with this, they talk about how you could sit and name Premier League footballers from the 90s and just go out. You're probably just starting naming Belfast Giants players and go, oh yeah, do you remember Steve O'Brien? What a player he was.
Yeah, no, it is. It's sad to say, like, I kind of forget a few of them, you know, that would just kind of here for a cup of coffee and then left.
Yes.
But then once you do see those rosters, like, oh man, that kid was awesome. That was a great team. You just remember all the good things at those. But like a lot of us, we played a lot of hockey, and so we played with a lot of guys. But yeah, this is great. I haven't seen this much footage.
Who was the standout player for you, the Belfast Giants? When you think,
that guy right there, number 17.
Yeah.
See him? He's on the screen right there.
He didn't. Just that guy right there.
Jason Ruff.
Jason Ruff. Do you know what? The amount of people, like, looking back on the years, Jason Ruff stands out as one of the elite. Players. But I also remember a comment from a good friend of ours, in Jim Tambo Piper, who stood on the bridge and said, Jason Ruff failed. And I went, what do you mean? He says he should have been lighting up the NHL. He shouldn't be here playing here with us because he was just something else. What was it about Jason Ruff?
He was like the Mark Messier of the elite league. You know, he was a quiet leader. Obviously he already did everything he had to do, I think, or he was part of his career when I played with him for whatever. He was kind of slowing down a little bit, but he had you could tell he had all the skill, but he was super tough. And just a great team guy, and he was an awesome dude, and it was something that he was a complete hockey player, and they're hard to come by a lot now, but it's like, again, but the game is different, so you kind of don't have those guys around the league much, but you knew that his whole career has been pretty good for him, so whether he failed or not playing in the NHL, I think he emulated what a hockey player is supposed to be. And again, I only knew him for a short time, but I feared him, playing against him. And then just when I was on the team, you could just see he could change a game like anything. Just with a forecheck, with a shot, with a fight, whatever it was, he was, like I said, he was like the Mark Messier of the UK, I think.
Before we, because I really want to flip it back, and Davey's texted me a whole load of questions about him, but one more thing that he sent me is a bit of reminiscing. I just want your take on this and what you remember.
Oh yeah, George at Asda.
The advert for George at Asda.
Oh, this is great. This was like, obviously it was after close down in where was Newton? Where was Newton Abbey? Yeah.
Because obviously the fans, we always had your chant, Awada, Awada, George Awada, and so therefore we decided that this would be a bit of crack.
Yeah, no, this is good stuff. Like, it was closed, and we were there. We were only there for a short bit, but yeah, Dudes was there and Lily was there, Stevie Lyle, and it was fun. It was good. Like, it wasn't like a pain in the ass kind of thing. We had it. Couple takes and we were done. It is pretty silly when you look at it, but it's just, that's the way things were back then, I think. And then back then it wasn't so far ago, but like
a bit of promo had to be done.
That is crack. There you go.
Good times. Let's bring it back to this last weekend and the two games on the road. That was a bit of a road swing. Not just the two games this weekend, but then we got 3 and 3. But you must have been happy with the performances that we had in Dundee and in Glasgow.
Yeah, it was. Like, we kind of had an up and down kind of last couple little stretch here. We wanted to start off the weekend the right way, and going on the road, ugly hockey, whatever, don't need to impress anything. It's age old cliches of everything, but I think the guys prepared. They had a good week. We had a lot of good battle drills, and they just kind of came in with the notion that we were going to start on time and play a complete 60. And I think we did. And obviously we owed Dundee a little bit. I mean, we feel we're better than them. Obviously they've beaten us a handful of times, so we can't really walk too tall around it. But we were ready for this one, I think, and obviously it was we're back on the ferry again. It was the same kind of travel that we were used to during the Challenge Cup and stuff. So it was kind of good to get back to that old school type stuff. And it was a good day, good prep. And, like I said, the guys showed up and everyone did their part in that. And you could see it across the bench, across everything. It was the start of the weekend that we needed. And, Kiefer had asked for it. And I think, the majority guys, I say all the guys brought it that night.
The next weekend, obviously, we have 2 games against the Guildford Flames. Weekend after. Sorry, next week. The weekend after. Sorry, the weekend. 2 games against the Guildford Flames, and then away to Dundee Stars, 3-3. Tells about the difficulty of playing. It's been a long time since we've played a 3-on-3. There were seasons gone by where we seem to have them every other week, but tells the difficulties of a 3-on-3 other than just fatigue.
Yeah, no, well, it is. I mean, it's like getting in a shootout. You want to get that first one out of the way, so then you have some momentum going into the next 2. You can't really conserve, but you got to understand you want to hope the game is manageable and you're in control of it on that first night. But it doesn't always work that way. Could go to OT and then you're in for one. But it is a physical thing, but there is a big mental side to it, obviously. Like every sport and everything, when you're just grinding that hard. It is nice that we have 2 games at home, so the guys can, everyone can sleep in their beds and everything for those 2 games. And then we're just, I don't want to say it's an easy travel on the Sunday, but it's hard when it's like home, away, home, or there's ways you can make it torturous. But again, it's being prepared for it and just being up for the fight, because both teams, or everyone seems to be having to do it. I think Cardiff did it last weekend. Or they had a Scotland run. I think Nottingham's doing it this weekend. So I mean, it is a testament to the old time. Like everyone used to do it back on the coast. I mean, they're playing 4 games in 5 nights. I mean, NHL guys, look at they're doing. I mean, it is kind of crazy. What is going on, that it needs to happen, but it is part of the game, and it's always been something. So I know a few of our guys. The majority of our guys have probably had 1 or 2 of them. So it is not that big of a deal, but just as long as you're playing the right way as a team and you all can carry each other through the games, and just having someone step up each night, if not the whole collective, then it's you can get through it, and then you just go on to the next one. That's all you got to worry about.
George, listen, we appreciate your time. I'm sure Davey will just give you a wave.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what.
we appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy the trip back to Manchester this weekend, and no doubt we'll catch up with you further down the line.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thanks for having me, guys.
I want you to be here. I want you to be here on the street. Because this is our time.
I can still hear you, Davey. It's all right. I can still hear you. Listen. Don't wind me up. The friendship series is still to come in the new year. But Belfast Giants, sorry, the Belfast Giants, the SSA Arena has just played host to the Friendship Four, and congratulations to the winners of the Friendship Four, which were Miami, Ohio, who defeated Doug Christensen's Union on Saturday evening at the arena. Another wonderful tournament, another wonderful achievement, not just for Miami, but for the organization and what they put on, and great feedback all the way around. We've been hearing some really good stuff. Congratulations to Doug Grimes, the captain. This is a back-to-back Friendship Four bell pots for him. He was part of the Boston University team of last season that came in, and he brought his experience back to Belfast to lift that bell and then be able to ring it himself. So yeah, congratulations to him. I think, Davey, he will be the first player to have won 2. Potentially could be the only player to have ever won 2. But it's unusual.
One for Neil Whiteside. Certainly first to go back to back, I'm sure. I know there's a couple that have played maybe in 2, but certainly don't think there's 2 winners. And that's a pretty unique achievement. We'll talk more, I think, next Tuesday night when Simon's back. Simon was obviously down at the tournament. We only got to watch it on on TV this year. Unfortunately, was unable to travel due to some circumstances, so missed out. But again, the guys on Giants TV putting that together and letting us see it, appreciate that. And
20 cameras,
as I said,
like that around the rink.
we will talk about it more next week whenever Simon's back in town.
Yep, Simon's the man to talk about that. His voice is starting to go. That's why he's not with us tonight. In fact, I'll give you a little taster of how bad his voice is. Here's a little bit from the interview that he did at the end with Doug Grimes.
Captain, lifted the bell pot again tonight in Belfast. You must be very proud of this group.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we came in with a job to do. You know, it's playoff atmosphere. It's playoff hockey. We got to win both games. We came and we fought our asses off and we got it done. So proud of these guys.
A battle last night, a battle again tonight. This is your second trip to Belfast. You must be enjoying this place.
Yeah, I like this place a lot. 2 for 2. I haven't lost a game here, so feels pretty good.
Back-to-back champions. You must be absolutely delighted personally and for the group.
Oh, absolutely. These guys are everything. You know, they work hard, put it in every day. We deserve this thing, so happy for us.
Congratulations.
Yeah, the voice definitely going there on Simon.
I'm surprised whenever Captain Grimes said, I've never lost a game here. I'm surprised Simon wasn't slipping the old, well, there's a team plays here as well. Come on. I'm sure. I'm sure the boys behind the scenes will be looking at everybody there.
Let's quickly race through. I forgot to do I'll come back to that. Sorry. Let's quickly race through the 2 games that took place over over the weekend. It was a win very quickly. Win against the Dundee Stars over in Dundee, and then a trip to Glasgow with a big delay in the middle of that game to beat the Glasgow Clan on a shootout. Let's hear from the coaches after the Dundee game.
I thought the first period we were okay for the most part there. I thought we had some quality chances in front of their net, and we shut them down quite well so that through the neutral zone and inside our zone. But then a couple of lost assignments that are inside our zone there late in the period. It makes it 2-0 for them. Overall, it wasn't a bad period, but you didn't want to be down by that against that team. Second period, I didn't like our first 10 minutes. I thought we didn't manage the puck well, especially through the neutral zone. Kept giving it away, and then their back turned off on offense on us. And then obviously Cruiser had to make some key saves there in the second period to keep us going. But then we got a power play goal, got us right back into it, make it 2-1. And then I thought the physicality picked up from there towards the end of the second period, which was good to see, guys sticking up for each other. And then the third period, we just stopped playing. We literally stopped playing. I don't know if we felt sorry for ourselves after that third goal right at the bat. But turning pucks over the blue line, not tracking back properly, bad gaps, getting stretched out too far. Looked like a men's league team almost in the third period there. We just, all those little things that we talk about all the time, we just didn't do in the third period. We gave ourselves a chance after the second period with a 2-1 game there against a very good team. But like I said, we just stopped playing in the third period. So that's got to be rectified. We're just not good enough as a team and deep enough as a team to have a lapse like that. They make you pay for it. And we got to be dialed in right from the get-go.
Yeah, that was a big win. I just said to the players there, I thought it was a pretty complete performance. The first 15 minutes, I thought it was going back and forth. Not to say I didn't like it. I just, I obviously would prefer that we had controlled that portion of the game a little more. But I thought once we did get to our game and start playing some, heavier, longer ozone shifts, I thought the guys got rewarded there at the end of that first period. And then obviously they test us there with that power play goal, and I thought for a couple shifts right after that you could see the life in Dundee really come to life, and I thought we settled that down, and then I thought obviously the way we started the third period, that was great. With some real intent there off that face-off, and then our power play goal kind of settled things right down for us. Like I said, I saw a lot of good things from our group. We talked about it going into the third period too, that Dundee's a team that we haven't seen a whole lot of quit from, and going back to that Nottingham game, just watching them compete to the final buzzer there, we wanted to make sure that we didn't give any life there, and we kept sucking life out of it, and I thought the guys did a pretty good job of that there in the third period. So definitely a step in the right direction for us, and obviously 2 big points, and we got to follow it up with another big game tomorrow.
Goals for the Belfast Giants came from our guests tonight: Gabe, Bast, David Goodwin, Jake Gaudette, and Jordan Karaguchi. The goal for the Dundee Stars, Spencer Nass. It was Emil Cruz against Jackson Whistle in goal, and the referees were Pavel Hallis, Graham Roger. You heard it from the coaches there, Davey. that, especially in the third period, friend of the show, Mark Lefebvre, not very happy with his team's compete.
No, but I also think that the Belfast Giants put them under so much pressure that they kind of just ran out of a wee bit of steam as well. Game was fairly even, I'm going to say, first half hour, then the Belfast Giants kind of took control at that stage, and obviously getting a very quick goal at the start of the third sort of lost, gained a lot of momentum for us, lost a lot of momentum for them, and from there, like we just turned it on. I think we controlled all three zones for the rest of the game. We weren't under too much pressure. Fairly professional performance all night long, but especially in that third period, just closed the game out in real good style.
Why has it changed now? Do you think? Obviously, we were struggling in there. We were struggling, but now we've come away. We seem to have changed things now. We seem to be dealing with the Dundee Stars, or have they changed?
I don't know if we saw Dundee are a team in devoid of form, certainly from the last couple of weeks of the Challenge Cup and right through the league. I think they're, how many points have they? They're certainly in 9th place at the minute. Handful of points in league action so far. So they're a team that are really scrapping for
7
form.
points in the league.
7
points from 11 games.
Yeah. So Mark Lefebvre talks about trying to get points every weekend, and that's has been his mantra for a number of seasons when he's been talking to us on the podcast. And I just think at the minute, Belfast Giants are starting to get into a bit of a run of form, as we talked about earlier. There's a little bit of no quitting this team now, and Mark said himself, he felt his team quit on him a bit, but you can only beat what's put in front of you. And I thought the Giants were pretty professional on the night.
We're going to race through this. We're going to go straight on to the next game in Glasgow, which had a little bit more about it as well in regards to the battle that took place. And you get a highlight to this, 18 minutes of them from our friends at Dundee Stars TV. Belfast Giants went on to face the Glasgow Clan just down the road in Braehead. It was an overtime win for the Belfast Giants, 4-3 in the shootout. Let's hear from the coaches.
Well, it was a really good response from our team from yesterday. Yesterday was a tough day for us. Yesterday the will to win was there, but our minds weren't working, so our execution suffered. But credit to the guys today. They really had a good response against a good Belfast team. And disappointed we didn't win, but it's still a valuable point. And to keep pushing through the game, and Colton Pullman came up with a great goal to send it in overtime. But for a lot of the game today, we were really good. So, credit to our players that after a tough night yesterday, they showed a lot of resiliency and came back and had a good performance today. And yes, we obviously would want to have won that game, but you just got to look at the performance, and overall the performance is really good.
Certainly happy with the 4-point weekend. Obviously happy with the clutch shootout there for us. I thought Jackson was great, and obviously another couple big goals there from a couple of players. That secures that extra point. It was a much needed 4-point weekend for us as a group. Not our best performance, but certainly not our worst either. Just a little frustrated with the fact that we let a few guys in behind us tonight and gave up some freebie goals. Especially the third period, I thought we managed it very well, and then we let a guy skate past us and give up the game-tying goal. But I thought the guys, just kept pushing and managed the rest of the game there, and managed to get it done in a shootout. So, like I said, we'll take the 2 points.
Goals for the Glasgow Clan came from Schwartz, Gabe, and Pullman. Goals for the Belfast Giants came from Karaguchi, McFadden, not Karaguchi as it says on team, McFadden, and Patrick Grasso was credited with the shootout winner. Lucas Bryan against Jackson Whistle in goals, and your referees were Toby Craig and Graham Roger. First comment goes to these Clans fans.
Because the Belfast Giants they're just aggressive players, and they literally physically hurt our players. And
Joe, I love the TikTok generation. I love nonsense like that. Were the Belfast Giants aggressive players, David?
I'd like to think so.
I guess it's part of the point of the game.
It's part of the raison d'etre of being a Belfast Giant. We complain all too often about them not being physical enough. So if people are noticing a level of physicality, then that can only be a good thing. It was a funny old game that they broke the game open with a big long stretch pass that he's broke away, put them 1-0 up. We've came back, went ahead, pulled back, went ahead. It was one of those games where the scoring went back and forwards all night long. And say big performances, and we had him on as a guest earlier. Gabe, Bast and Brad McFadden playing together the last 3 or 4 games. Seems
Brad
to be
McFadden.
sorry. Oh dear. It must be after.
It's after 10 o'clock.
It's after 10 o'clock. I'm very sorry. Anyway, he comes up with a massive goal. And again, a lot of work being done in front in the blue paint by Jake Cadet and causing havoc. That line of Cadet, Kawaguchi, and Nick Gay have been really, really good through the month. And we'll go on to talk player of the month in a minute or two. But I think just the havoc they cause. Nick Gay taking the vast majority of the face-offs. Jake Cadet always scrapping around. When you talk about wanting winger help on face-offs that aren't won clean, that's one of the biggest factors that a winger can bring to the game is winning a scrappy face-off, going in and getting secondary puck, and Jake Cadet does that a lot. And if he doesn't, he'll just go and stand in the blue paint. It reminds me, maybe not so much of Nicholas Holmstrom. Holmstrom used to do it, stand in front of the goalie looking for tips. Cadet will get in there and make a nuisance himself. He'll draw a D-man away. He'll take eyes away from goaltender. He's taking attention away. He's been a physical nuisance, and he's opening up space for the likes of McFadden coming in at the point. It's actually a little pass across from, it's not Nick Gay, is it Nick Gay's or passes across? Can't remember now. But, all the goals there the weekend were there's a lot of traffic in front, and that's what you need at this. The goals are not easy to come by in this league this season. And you have to get those scrappy goals, those dirty goals. You got to go those dirty areas, and I think we've done that pretty well in Glasgow.
You say that with regards to like Kawaguchi, Cadet, Gay. You can see why that's more or less been elevated to our top line now. The production that those guys have been putting in this last month or so has been phenomenal, and it's sort of kept us productive in games.
Yeah, well, Simon talked about it on last week's show, or the show the weekend before, perhaps, about. You need depth. You need depth in the scoring and not having it at the minute. But you're relying heavily on that one line at the minute. That's working. They're coming up with goals on a nightly basis. The night before, you've goals from the blue line. You last two games there. David Goodwin picking one off a bad defensive error in Guildford, a pass straight across the crease. He's picked it up top of circles, went and scored on Saturday Friday, was it against Friday against Dundee, hanging about the blue paint, and Mike Lee goes around behind the net, pops out in front. David Goodwin standing on the doorstep. So there is secondary scoring coming there, which is a good thing as well. But my secret site that I'm a Westlife fan. There you go.
Stand up for the key change. I have to say though, this has been clipped. It is now on the soundboard.
They're just aggressive players, and they literally physically hurt our players. And
so what? The highlights from that game are available from the guys at Clan TV on YouTube. You mentioned it there, Davey. I was supposed to do it earlier with George Awada, but I was just enjoying the chat. And with regards to the player of the month, we asked everybody to give us your nominees. We've actually just come up with a short list of 3, and we've just named them. Your nominees are Jordan Kawaguchi, number 29. Number 63, Jake Cadet. And number 91, Nicholas Gay. Watch him play, scoring every day. Davey, it's catching on. The poll will open on Wednesday morning, and you'll be able to vote all through the week, and we'll hopefully be able to pass it on to the winner come the game against the Guildford Flames next week. David, who would your choice of those 3 be?
So I wish that you could in this month's instance, because when you asked me earlier for my opinion, it was easy for me just to name these 3. They've been clutch, all 3 of them. I seen Mike Lee on Instagram the other day saying, get the puck to 91. As a little captain, Jordan Kawaguchi came up with an insane amount of points and assists in key moments. And I voted for him last month, and I'll vote for him again this month. I think Jake Cadet is the key to unlocking that line as well. He goes and does. Remember we talked about Keith Lloyd Garside back in the day. Garside's job was just to get the puck to those 2 and going. That was his job. Jake Cadet's job is to create space for these 2 guys, and he's coming up with his own share of goals and assists, and he's involved in a couple of goals at Glasgow on the weekend where he doesn't get an assist, where if you could give a third assist, he should. You know, he's in there, he's hassling, he's causing problems for DB. And so, again, second month in a row. I thought he should have won it last month, but 6-3 for me.
Do you know what? I'm agreeing with you. I think that Kawaguchi has showed last year what he can do with regards to some of the creativity and some of the ability to find the net. Nicholas Gay has impressed me no end since he came in. I think that, you know, again, a guy who is able to find a bit of space, first of all, and then when he gets it on stick, he has that sight for goal. But the key to this line is that man in number 63, Jake Godet. I think he is the guy. He's the creative linchpin in that. Go on, Davey.
I'll add one thing, and I don't want to take away from the D man that might play with him. When you add JJ Pickens on the special teams of that, that power play line has done pretty well over the course of the month as well.
Yep, 100%.
A couple of big special teams goals. So if you could add a number 12 into that, I think it would be a willing or a worthy candidate for the prize. But yeah, if you're going for those three guys just in their normal 5-on-5 play,
yeah, and my vote will be, I say, for Jake Godet. But who's your vote for? The poll will be open from Wednesday morning. Get your vote in, and we'll present the most coveted trophy in the whole of hockey. That is, of course, the View from the Bridge Player of the Month trophy, sponsored by friends at Fullcap. Big thanks to them. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Let's just play this one more time.
Because the Belfast Giants they're just aggressive players, and they literally physically hurt our players. And
love it. Imagine just getting in the car, right? You're thinking like, really rubbish losing that in a shootout. Really, do you know what we should do? Let's just like get our phone out and just tell everybody and look how crazy we are. Like, don't get me wrong, we do that on a weekly basis here on A View from the Bridge, and big thanks to everybody who tunes in. But there are a number of times that maybe I've got my car after a game, most notably in Manchester, that I've just thought, thank goodness I'm not on A View from the Bridge tonight, because I'd probably lose the plot. Before we just start to wrap things up here, if you're watching on, you'll see that the scores and the likes are scrolling down the right-hand side of the screen. Just one thing I want to point out, Davey. Not often you say this. 4-point weekend for the Five Flyers.
No, it's not often you say that.
You say that, but a couple of great victories, not least an overtime victory over the Cardiff Devils, and maybe a bit of life in them given the players they brought in.
Yeah, one of they've brought in players with a little bit of experience in this league. They brought in players with a massive amount of veteran leadership, which is only going. We'll see how things work out for them. You want five. You want the competitive 10 teams in the league at the minute. There's a few teams that are just off the boil and a little uncompetitive. Five of a long way. It's a long way back for them to be competitive. It's a shame. Neil Russell used to really crack up about the Edinburgh Capitals waiting to December to bring players in. What's the point? You've just gassed the first 3 months of the season, and to try and push for that 8th place in the playoff standings to play against the number 1 seedings. Coach was always a big fan of getting the strongest team you could in September and making a fist of things. So maybe the Flyers have just left a little bit too late to be competitive, but in terms of climbing the league standings, but they'll be aiming, I guess, for those lower playoff spots.
6-5 win away from home against the Manchester Storm, who we face on Friday, and then that 3-2 win. Was it 3-2? No, it was 3-2 win against the Cardiff Devils in overtime at home. So yep, well done to them. Some of the other results is like 2-7-1s, a lot of 8-1s. There's a lot of scores being racked up, but I guess that's you see as we come into sort of the business end, the highly packed Christmas sort of scenario, and we'll talk. No doubt you guys will talk about the 3 games in 3 next week, but things are just going to get busier and busier. For the Belfast Giants, it's 2 games this weekend. We are away to the Manchester Storm on Friday night, 7:30 p.m, and then down the road to the Cardiff Devils, 7 p.m. at the Carlbon Arena. If you're not making the trip over, I know a lot of people are, but if you're not making the trip over, you'll get the game against the Storm on Storm TV and the game against the Cardiff Devils at the Carlbon Arena from Gaz and the guys on Devils TV. Any other business, David?
I don't have any other business, Paddy, except the little video that Marcus sent us during the week.
Yes, let's find
which I'm
I
going
got it there.
to up here. It was 2 minutes well spent.
Today I went to the Belfast Giants at the SSE Arena. Admission was £21 plus booking fee. Once you get there, there's Finn and Fanula ready to welcome you in. And that's you sorted, ready to get on with it. There's merch you can get, hoodies and t-shirts and that, like. They do have bins. And they do have toilets that you can check out or use them if you need them, you know. Then you can head on into the arena, see what's what. They just seem to be having a bit of a mess about here. Like, it was a bit confusing. I couldn't keep score of what was happening. Then these lads came out in these wee sort of ice cars. I wonder how you get to go on them. They're good. But then everything starts to kick off. Finn and Fanula start banging the drums, getting everyone riled up, ready for it to start. And if you're not sure when it's going to start, there's a handy countdown. So you know, right here, we're getting ready to go. And then there they are, the Giants come flying out. There's a lot of fire there. Like, I was wondering how it was going to deal with the ice there. Like, is it going to melt it or what? But they didn't seem to be bothered, and they were happy enough. Then all the players pop up, like a character selection screen out of Tekken or something. Formalities out of the way, the puck's on the ice, and then away they go. Everything started. The fella keeping score sits in this wee sort of Pope-mobile type scenario, just keeping an eye on everything that's happening. Now, how did he get that job? That would be good. It's rough enough some of the time. I don't know if it was intentional or because they were sliding all over the place. But Finn McCool comes out strutting away, so he is, making sure everything's all above board and right. We wave to your man there. Man of the people, so he is. And speaking of people, everyone sits together, except if you think you are somebody, then you set up one of these exclusive boxes way up on high. Not sure who this fella is here, but he's wearing a suit, so he must be important. All the players are queuing up to make sure everyone gets a go. They all have the wee 50p sitting there. In the in-between bits of the match, they bring out a rocket launcher with sandwiches in it, firing indiscriminately into the crowd, whether you're hungry or not, like. Footlongs flying through the air. Everyone likes to celebrate a particularly good shot. I think here is the aftermath of a direct hit of a meatball marinara. Fanula absolutely loving it there. And then that's it, the match is over. Whether you won or lost, you always feel like a winner. It was good, like, I'll be back.
Marcus Keeley, a big fan of Marcus, and obviously his wife Dave, who was a staple part of the Sweet 24. I think that's a bit of a dig at his wife. When he's talking about the people who sit in the boxes up on high, he knows very well what he's talking about there. But that's absolutely brilliant, man. And it goes to, like, I was going to play that earlier on, just that we had Gabe Bast waiting for us as a sort of a, you know, look at where we started with the Belfast Giants and look at where we are now. Mm-hmm. People sitting in Pope-mobiles and rocket launchers firing indiscriminately into the crowd.
No comment. But yeah, no, I seen that on Instagram last week. It tickled me, so I sent Marcus a message and he sent me the video. So thanks to him for sharing that, and check out his. Actually, I had a little. See, I'm stupid. I set this up last week and then I forgot to do it. You can follow Marcus on Instagram, Marcus Keeley, and check out voiceboxcomedy.com if you want to see more from him.
Absolutely. Some of the videos, I think he's done one around Bow Street Mall in Lisburn, which is well worth looking at. It's really just brilliant comedy, and big thanks to Marcus for sharing that with us. If that's us, Mr. Mitchumsey, I think we'll wrap it up then. The big thanks to Gabe Bast and to George Awada for coming and joining us on the show this week. Belfast Giants games, as I say, away from home, away at the Manchester Storm, 7:30 on Friday. Get that on Storm TV if you're not making the trip over. And on Saturday, away to the Cardiff Devils, 7 p.m. at the Calbon Arena, and that will be on Devils TV. You get us at AVFTB on X. You can get us on Facebook, Instagram, kingdomofthegiants.com, and all the really good podcast providers. Good to see you, mate. You know, and big thanks to everybody who's been interacting through the show, wherever you are this weekend. We hope you enjoy your hockey. We'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.